I am Ibrahim Obalde and this is QTV News coming to you from our studios on Kairaba Avenue. Thanks for joining us. And now here are the main local and sports news headlines. The heavy fuel oil spill at the Gam Petroleum Mandinari depot has impacted the ecosystem of an area of about 5 kilometers, affecting mangroves on which oysters live. National Assembly members are on a 4-day seminar organized to introduce them to a key parliamentary functions, including on their oversight mandate. The Gambia tourism industry is recovering from a massive disruption caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, bringing calls for more investment and diversification to attract more tourists. In international news, the Speaker of the dissolved Guinea-Bissau Parliament has urged the ECOWAS parliamentarians to direct much of their focus on preventive measures and monitoring situations in member countries rather than firefight in the last minute. And those were our main headlines. Now the news in detail. The heavy fuel oil spill at the Gam Petroleum Mandinari depot has impacted the ecosystem of an area of about 5 kilometers, causing mangrove crop roots on which oysters live. Tinted with the oil stick, this has put at risk other marine species, which are a source of livelihood for many Gambians, some of whom are to close their businesses. More in this report.
This is what heavy fuel oil looks like, and here are the pictures of its impact on our ecosystem. Because of an amount of 1,501 metric tons of oil spill at the Gam Petroleum Depot in Mandinari. The spill has reached an area of about 5 kilometers, causing an ecological disaster. Lamin Koma is the NEA's head of Coastal and Marine Environment Program.
Basically, this area, it is a very sensitive ecological site. This is where you have oysters that are growing on the prop roots of the mangroves. And again, it's an area where you have other marine species like the fish species that use this ecosystem for spawning until they are of age before they move to the ocean for their survival.
We are taken on a tour to the affected areas via a speedboat by the NEA, NDMA and Pura for closer observation of the impact of the oil spill on the ecosystem. Throughout the journey, it can be observed that mangroves seem to be the most affected by the oil spill, which can have an effect on the oysters which live on the mangroves.
What is going to cause is there is going to be mortality. Mortality in such a way that the oysters, of course, there will be drop in their production, and again, there's going to be dieback on the mangrove ecosystem.
Oyster farming and sales have been a source of livelihood for some Gambians, many of whom are women. The aftermath of the heavy oil spill has spelled disaster for them. Here are samples of the oysters they have harvested and processed for sale. Penda Jeju and Ambience Mane are among the women engaged in oyster farming and selling in Mandinari.
The oil spill has affected us so much because we can't get oysters the way we used to before, because the oil is on the oyster shells. Even now, when you chew the oyster, you can taste the oil in it. Now we are afraid to sell oysters. From today, we are going to suspend our business because of this problem. The oil stain on that cloth, it is exactly the same as on the oyster shells.
There is an ongoing ecological assessment of the extent of the damage caused by the oil spill, spearheaded by the National Environment Agency, the National Disaster Management Agency, and the Public Utility Regulatory Authority, PIRA. Dr. Dauda Baji and Sana Dahaba are the executive directors of the NEA and NDMA respectively.
So what we need to do at this juncture is to continue the assessment because it has an ecological aspect. We will conduct an ecological assessment as well as it has socio-economic dimension because you can see that some of the oysters have already been affected and this is their livelihood.
We are here as stakeholders. So when we sit down and assess that thing, then if somebody's livelihood is damaged, at least there must be some degree of support on that guy to be able to build up his livelihood again or her livelihood. So naturally, those things will be looked into because these all stakeholders are here, including you, and then we cannot leave them when their livelihood is damaged.
Sunday, the authorities mobilized resources for a cleanup exercise along the riverbank covered by the oil spill. Among the affected areas are communities surrounding Mandinari, Kubune, Pirang and Bonto. Mohamed Lamin Choi, QTV News.
National Assembly members are on a 4-day seminar organized by the UK branch of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association and the Westminster Foundation for Democracy in collaboration with the Office of the Clerk of the National Assembly. The training is to introduce to the NAM key parliamentary functions including on their oversight mandate. Mohamed Lamin Choi reports again.
This is the second induction training for this set of NAMs, most of whom are newcomers to the National Assembly. The Commonwealth Parliamentary Association, UK branch, and the Westminster Foundation for Democracy are supporting the NAMs through capacity building on parliamentary functions. Among the members of the team of trainers are 2 MPs from the UK's House of Commons and House of Lords. Craig Whittaker is an MP from the House of Commons.
The other key thing about these seminars is that we're going to give you an insight into how to effectively run committees to scrutinise the work of the government, which is really, really important work to do. And much more will become clear, and there's going to be a simulated, I think Victoria said earlier, a simulated committee session a little bit later in the week, tomorrow.
A National Assembly or Parliament is a core institution of a democracy which has a mandate and functions that directly or indirectly affect the lives of citizens and residents of a country. Their functions and powers are derived from the Constitution and the standing orders, having to deal with technical subjects including legislation, on-the-job experience and capacity building can prepare NAMs to perform their mandate effectively and efficiently. The Speaker of the National Assembly, Fabakary Tombongjada, thanks the organizers of the training.
Our collaboration with CPA UK and Westminster Foundation for Democracy in this drive is geared towards not only strengthening the institutional capacity of the legislature, but also equally ensuring that the National Assembly of the Gambia is effective, accountable, and inclusive in its delivery of parliamentary business, with National Assembly members equipped and confident to undertake their responsibilities efficiently.
Though the Gambia and the UK's Parliament are unlike each other, NAMs look forward to learning from these trainings examples of best practice of parliamentary functions. Alhaji Mbao, the NAM for Upper Salem, sees the training as an important learning opportunity.
Because we have a lot of similarities, but we're going to learn how some of these things are actually done in terms of, for example, the lawmaking aspect. When you get a bill, what do you do? And we relate that to our current situation with our standing orders to see exactly how can we improve that. So, and I think with parliaments, regardless of the degrees that you actually have, it's a whole different animal. So when you come here, you have to learn. And the best thing is actually to learn from people with experience.
With the requisite training on their roles and functions, expectations are high among the public for the Assembly to discharge its functions effectively and efficiently in addressing the development problems facing the country. Mohamed Lamin Choi, QTV News.
The Gambia's tourism industry is recovering from the massive disruption caused by COVID-19 pandemic, bringing calls for more investment and diversification to attract more tourists to make the industry sustainable. This call was echoed by the Vice President at a recently concluded cabinet retreat. Mohamed Lamin Choi reports again.
Selling destination Gambia, the smiling coast of Africa in the tourism market, it is common to hear mention of our year-round sunshine, sandy beaches, the sea, the birds, and varied cultural experiences of which, unarguably, the country has plenty of. However, tourism can be beyond these gifts of nature. At the opening of the cabinet retreat, the Vice President, Dr. Ali Bazarajuf, shares his views on why there should be diversification of the Gambia's tourism industry.
Look at also the sun and the sun and the sea is becoming a monotony. When it is summertime in Europe, you spend the sun and the sun in the sea in Spain or Portugal or somewhere in the Mediterranean. Let's go for ecotourism perhaps. Let's go for river tourism. Let's look at something that is strategic. And the products that you find in the tourist market, if you come once, you buy once, twice, the third time you don't have to buy anything because it's the same old thing.
The tourism industry in the Gambia is a major contributor to the economy, accounting for at least 20% directly to GDP, while the indirect contribution to GDP reflects an even greater importance of tourism to the nation. Tourism Minister Hamad Nkeba tells QTV that his ministry began diversifying the tourism industry before the COVID-19 pandemic.
Well, with regards to tourism, I think the Vice President just spoke his mind, as I said. We have started diversification before COVID. Since 2019, prior to COVID, we've started diversification because we're very much in tune with the trend internationally and nationally because we're very much updated on daily basis as to what happened in the system all over the world. We started and we believe we knew then there may be some problem with our international source market.
As a country that largely depends on Europe for its international tourists, this proved unsustainable during the COVID-19 pandemic when there were travel restrictions from almost all of Europe. The Tourism Ministry has explored an alternative strategy called domestic and regional tourism, according to the minister.
Well, we have achieved certain things because we wanted to promote domestic and regional tourism, where our own Gambians become tourists in their own country, which it was unthinkable now. And then also allow neighboring countries to be coming to the Gambia. And we've seen that succeeding now. Most of these hotels are now full with Senegalese, Nigerian tourists and other people. And we've never had that before to the level that we have now. And also we've now seen Gambians visiting, going as tourists with their families in the rural area. And that's why we're developing these hotel and lodges, encouraging Gambian businessmen and women to invest in the sector of country, and we've seen a lot of investment movement in that direction.
The tourism sector's significance to the Gambia's economy is shown by the fact that it supports over 42,000 direct jobs and 40,000 more indirect jobs and generates at least $85 million in foreign exchange earnings. This makes it one of the largest foreign exchange earners for the Gambia. Over the past 5 years, tourism has also attracted $45 million in foreign investment in the Gambia. Diversifying the industry requires more investment, which, if successful, could bring more opportunities for the Gambia. Mohamed Lamin Choi, QTV News.
Mohamed Lamin Choi there. We'll now go for a short commercial break. When we return, we have more local, international, and sport news stories. Do stay tuned.
Q Money, the biggest mobile money service in the Gambia, has taken mobile banking to the next level. Now, you can link your Q Money wallet with your bank account. Yes, link your Ajib or EcoBank accounts with your Q Money wallet and get instant access to your cash anytime. No need to queue at the bank anymore. Transfer funds from your bank account to your wallet or your wallet to your bank account using Q Money Bank Link is the fastest, most secure, and convenient way to transfer funds between your wallet and bank account. For more information, call our customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunyu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
As the fastest growing GSM company in the Gambia, QCell has the widest 4G plus coverage in the country, 3 times faster internet speed than our competitors. So switch now and dial *335# and enjoy what true 4G feels like. QCell, Gambia's trusted network.
Welcome back. The Senegalese Association of Instructors of Educational Group, AECS, in partnership with the Gambia Hotel Association, GHA, held the official launch ceremony of the 13th edition of the Symposium on Educational Groups on Saturday. Ansumana Esonyasi tells us more.
This is the first time this popular 3-day annual convergence on education organized by the Association of Instructors of Educational Groups in Senegal is being hosted in the Gambia, thanks to the partnership between ISIS and the Gambia Hotel Association. 400 ISIS members traveled from Senegal to take part in the 13th edition, being held under the theme Digital Security in the Service of Diplomacy and Educational Groups. Badara Bayan and Nyas Nying, President and Vice President of ISIS respectively, explained the importance and impact that ISIS summer educational programs have on the participants, and went on to further emphasize the need to frequently have such programs, which they say helps mold young people into productive members of society.
ISIS ci loolu lay liggéey donc ISIS day liggéey ci formation maanaam tàggat.
ISIS is here to train young people, to build their capacities and prepare them to be able to participate meaningfully in the development of their societies. The theme for this year's convergence is timely. We know the internet has a lot of benefits and is central to our development, but it also comes with a lot of problems.
Instagram, WhatsApp, YouTube.
Facebook, Instagram, and all these social media sites are contributing a lot to what is destroying a lot of young people. And we believe something needs to be done about it. We believe there are many ways they can use the internet to better their lives. Hence, this convergence, and I am happy that we are hosted here in the Gambia because this will give us an opportunity to work with young people in the Gambia. I wish to also thank our partners, the GHA, for their support and collaboration. Francis Njai and Bunama Njai, current and former president of the Gambia Hotel Association, respectively, both expressed delight at hosting the ISIS Educational Convergence for the first time in the Gambia, adding that this is in line with GH's plan to encourage educational and domestic tourism, especially between the two countries.
I mean, if you look at it, we have problems here. Parents have problems. If you look at during the school breaks, kids don't actually have anything motivational to do to entice them into certain issues. Yeah, build up a team or at least come up with a project or something like that. Most of the things you hear is that diw de domam lapna de ma ci geejgi because amut programme bo xamna ni mom lañ setal xalé during sen vacation from school. And this is the important part of it, that we are partnering with ISS to ensure that we also learn on the other side the programs, policies that they have for their kids during school break.
This symposium is intended to prove to the sub-regional and international community that the sister countries have sufficient socio-cultural resources and resilience to recover from the impact of the pandemic. The event will be used to promote the destination of the two countries, promote educational tourism, and build on the progress registered by the Senegalo-Gambia Secretariat over the years. At the end of the event, participants are expected to take stock of civic and citizenship education, make proposals to improve the use of digital technology, and develop a multi-partner action program on tourism and civic education. Several speakers, including representatives of the Ministries of Youth and Sports and Tourism and Culture, as well as the Deputy Head of the Gambia OIC Secretariat, Esa Bokarsi, all spoke on the importance of the event. Ansumana Esonyasi for KTV News.
Well, interesting piece there by Ansumana Esonyasi. Now, the University of the Gambia School of Medicine and Allied Health Sciences held a white coat ceremony for the 19th cohort of medical students moving from the biomedical sciences to the clinical area. More in this report by Ajibintu Drame.
The white coat ceremony is the presentation of a white coat to medical students, marking a transition from the biomedical sciences to the clinical areas, as it will mark their first contact with patients. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the white coat ceremony was suspended for the past 3 years. Ramatullah Njai, Provost of the School of Medicine and Allied Health Sciences, explains.
Hard work, honesty, integrity, and to comport ourselves with dignity. And this is part of what we expect of doctors-to-be who will be our colleagues in the future.
Alhaji Osise, president of the University of the Gambia Student Association, urges family members to support their children through the difficult journey. He also advises the medical students to be trustworthy, while urging both the education and health ministries to endorse the school.
And what we need is a recognition to the stakeholders in the crusade that we all fight for. A university that we all want, a hospital that we all want, and by extension, Gambia that we all want. We shouldn't be any different from hospitals in Dakar, in Ghana, in Nigeria, and the UK, and the United States, as reported by our fellow students that just came from their electives.
Professor Tinu Agunlogi, the guest speaker, gives words of advice.
You cannot behave inappropriately as a doctor, especially even when you are not wearing your white coat. You hold a special place in the lives of your patients and their families, as I mentioned, as I gave an example earlier. You know, what do superheroes wear? Most superheroes have the what? They have a cape. And it's been said that some superheroes only wear white coats. So let's remember that.
Dr. Mahamadou Kabir Cham, Registrar of the Medical and Dental Council, had this to say.
What I attempted to do is to do an excursion. You are a class of 2025, which means 2025 you will graduate from the school. When you graduate from the school, there is another 24 months which you have to go through. And if you want to go further, there is a clearance examination called primaries, which will then get you into residency. And surely there are residents and registrars currently, junior registrars, senior registrars, and when they get to the membership, they are specialists.
Dr. Charles Roberts, deputizing for the Chief Medical Director of the Edward Francis Small Teaching Hospital, reminds the medical students of the etiquette that will groom them through the medical profession.
And also protect their privacy. Like I said in the beginning, they will come and tell you some very personal things. And it is not expected of you to be sharing those personal things out with somebody else. Even your wife, even your husband, you're not supposed to be sharing those things. Unless the person is a medical doctor, and then you are discussing things that would help that patient.
Fatu A.B. Bojang, a medical student, gave the vote of thanks, expressing gratitude to the lecturers and family members for their immense support. White coats were presented to the aspiring medical students as they prepare for the task ahead. Ajibintu Drame, QTV News.
Well, great responsibility comes with great task. And of course, now to some international news. The Speaker of the dissolved Guinea-Bissau Parliament, Cipriano Kisama, has encouraged and urged ECOWAS parliamentarians to direct much of their focus on preventive measures and monitoring situations in member countries rather than firefight in the last minute. As Aliou Cisse reports from Abuja, Nigeria, MPs were also briefed on the current state of displaced population in West Africa.
Last month, President Umar Sissoco Embalo dissolved the Guinea-Bissau Parliament and called for a quick parliamentary election at the end of this year. He cited what he said was the unresolved differences with Parliament as a reason for the decision. He further accused parliamentarians of corruption and embezzlement, saying several parliamentarians had turned the opposition-dominated Bissau Parliament into a place of political guerrilla warfare and conspiracy. In a goodwill message to the committee parliamentarians at the ongoing 2022 first ordinary session of the ECOWAS Parliament in Abuja, Nigeria, Cipriano Kasama, Speaker of the dissolved Guinea-Bissau Parliament, said ECOWAS parliamentarians are elected representatives of the community charged with helping to address crisis in the sub-region. In his view, the ECOWAS Parliament has achieved a lot of significant results while advocating the observation of the principles of good governance to avoid further political crisis. However, he made no mention of Guinea-Bissau or the political crisis regarding the dissolved parliament.
Honorable MPs, we have to focus more on preventive measures and monitoring the situations in our respective countries so as to avoid looking like firefighters at the last minute. The parliament is privileged to be able to stabilize all political crises.
The Guinea-Bissau Parliament Speaker also joined his Gambian counterpart, Speaker Fabakary Tombong Jatta, and the Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament, Sidi Mohamed Tunis, to express support to have ECOWAS parliamentarians directly elected by the people. He called for more investment in development of the youth, empowering women, and development of public policies to stimulate development. On the issue of protection and solutions to forced displacement in West Africa, Half Kwate, Senior Liaison Advisor to the ECOWAS United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees Regional Office for West and Central Africa, revealed that as of 30th April 2022, over 6 million people were forcibly displaced, over 5 million internally displaced persons, 60% children, and over 515,000 refugees, 53% children. The main countries of refugees countries of origin are Niger, Mali, Cote d'Ivoire, Cameroon, Mauritania, and Nigeria, which has the highest at 198,448 refugees. According to Mr. Kuyate, there are 17% increases in internally displaced figures and 18% increases of refugees in the last 12 months.
Mali also, there are Ivorian refugees or Ivorian citizens who want to go back because they think their time has come to go back home in Cote d'Ivoire. In other words, to cease to be refugees, but they cannot do so because the borders are closed, especially Mali's borders are closed because of the sanctions that were imposed. Because of that, they cannot cross the border.
Representatives of the West African Civil Society Forum Nigeria platform were also at the ECOWAS Parliament to share their assessment of the community as an ECOWAS of people. Dr. Sandwo Olatunji David, National Coordinator of the Nigeria platform, called on ECOWAS institutions to work closely with CSOs to seek to identify the impediments to the desired policy changes in member states. Reporting for QTV News from Abuja, Nigeria, I am Aliou Cisse.
From Abuja, Nigeria, there, Aliou Cisse. Well, this is all we have for you in this bulletin. Thanks for watching. Do enjoy the rest of our programs. Bye.